How's it going, everybody, and welcome to episode 37 of the Ready Game Fire podcast. I'm your host, Chris Fox. With me today is Pixel brother Jordy Fuller.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Are you the stronger half of the Pixel brothers?
What, physically?
Yes.
Probably.
And also here today, from IGN, is
never heard of it.
Hot off the heels of announcing that the podcast medium was dead.
We were actually discussing
We were talking about this on the way here.
It's Tom Butler.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Not a fan of the new podcast app?
No, I'm not.
You're like the Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Twitter. The podcast is dead.
Always helps saying something controversial though, because everyone likes to chip in then.
That's what I heard. Say something controversial and get yourself noticed.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that I haven't said anything controversial, so our podcast still relatively underground.
Yeah.
And the other voice you've heard is Daniel Krupa.
Hello.
Or as Chobot pronounced it the other day, Dan Hill Krupa.
An idiot.
What was she doing talking about you?
Dan Hill?
Why was she
Daniel
talking
sounds like a
about
cigarette brand.
I was on Mixed Reviews, and I think it was your Need for Speed review.
Maybe we should email her. And
They say
Will
Daniel
you-
in America, don't
But that's a thing.
They say Daniel. Right. We're here with our PR manager, Will, because we're kind of a big deal. We're kind of like Jedward. We're just sorting out. We're trying to break it. We're here with the PR manager. He's now texting Chobot. So
If you hear us being throttled, then that's him. That's him intervening.
Well, actually, it will more be likely that the podcast will just be 2 minutes. And that Will was involved. Will has said no to beer and cheesecake, so...
that's not going to pick up on that.
He's got a loud...
He's very happy though. He's playing with the
He's
wrestling.
got a cuddly toy that talks, though.
He's having a nice day.
But to bring up my point about the podcast medium being dead, what my point is that Apple have really screwed everyone by bringing in an app, a specific app that you have to download to then download podcasts. It's become very difficult to discover new podcasts. Although I like the radio feature on the new app, I just think one more barrier to discovery, and it just makes it so difficult.
Yeah, it's
people
annoying.
to find. Yeah, it's annoying. People have messaged a lot saying there's other apps you can get for podcasts, but then if you have to then look for another app to then just to look for podcasts, then I just think it's too far. But
So if you're listening to this, well done.
well done.
Well done on you, because
done.
you're good.
You're good.
Or persistent.
Yeah,
one or
you're
the
very
other.
persistent. Yeah.
Or one of my family members, which is more likely.
Hi.
One of my persistent family members.
We've just not just updated to iOS 6 either.
But the new app does have an auto-download feature. But, you
But
can
it
only-
doesn't work. That's my point.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I think
work.
it might have been fixed now.
You have to download one at a time still. That's what breaks it.
Well, I find you have to go in and press the little button, the little round thing, to make it start downloading.
Yeah.
And then if you do more than one, it still queues them up, so they don't all download at once.
The new podcast app's really good, except for when you're trying to handle podcasts.
Yeah.
But yes, obviously you can find our podcast on YouTube.
You can find our podcast as well on iTunes if you can find it.
On the website, it's not on
What's it
YouTube.
called, Chris?
It's the IGN UK podcast.
There you go.
And I'm a little bit behind, actually.
Oh, it's gone weird. It's gone really weird. Kez has started doing it like in the semi-nude, which is kind of creeps us all out a bit. Alex has started doing it while stood on his head.
Just
It's all
jabbing
got
people in the
really weird.
balls.
Yeah,
Just threatening everyone. Honestly, the outtakes, some of them are foul.
Yeah.
Last week you had to edit the podcast. Can we swear on your podcast?
Yes, please do.
Last week on the podcast, we were supposed to edit out and you couldn't edit Alex out.
No. But anyway, yeah, no, none of that stuff's happened. It's just the same old story.
I usually do censor the word.
There you go.
Unless...
Yeah, when you said swear, I didn't realise.
I'm gonna pepper this podcast with
Well, there was one that was so perfectly delivered that I had to leave it in. So yeah, one has slipped through the net. And when my dad does listen, I do get notes, what's good and what's bad, and my dad still tells me off for swearing. He's not a fan of swearing.
Will your dad be offended by mewling Quim?
He will not listen to this one because of the phrase mewling Quim.
Prefer his GameSpot.
This is an informal podcast. We're just going to be chatting to Tom and Dan about what they do. We're going to be talking to Jordan about what he does.
Sometimes.
And then we're going to vaguely sum up the year.
Just
vaguely.
casually, yeah.
All in one podcast.
Yeah. What stuck out? What have been everybody's personal highlights?
This is the news.
There's been no news today.
What about the Nuketown stuff?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that, but
But then they fixed it.
Yeah, and same with Jordan was like, oh, what about the Wii U hack? That apparently was not a real hack.
Yeah,
I thought you said
apparently not.
hat. I was like, that's
That's not a
fucking
real
news.
hat.
Did
If
you
there's
see
ever
the-
been news in the world, it's the Wii U hat. You can use it as a hat.
Have you seen the videos?
That you
of-
can't use it as a hat. That's
Ah.
the point. Yeah.
Have you seen the videos of the Wii U's when they crash? They do this really weird.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna
I
be.
can't wait for the one
I
I don't
wouldn't be
get
annoyed.
not to do that
All the time.
all the time.
I mean, the only news that really grabbed my attention that turned out to be a news story was the one that hit just before we finished recording the last episode.
It was about
because
Helen Flanagan in the jungle.
It was.
In case you didn't realise, she's still got tits. If you didn't realise, you can just check the front page of the Sun every day.
Every day.
So-
Still got them.
Still got them.
They are still there then.
They are still there. Yeah.
Still there.
Whew. And obviously that was Tom and Dan's I'm a Celebrity update. I've never been a fan of I'm a Celebrity. Do you guys actually?
I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's
Oh no, I think I watched them the very first season when it was on.
It's a TV show about people sitting around. It's
yeah, and eating ostrich arsehole
Ritualised humiliation.
bagel. I'd watch it if it was proper stars. Like if
I'd
Tom
watch it
Tom
if-
Cruise was in the jungle.
Yeah, I'd watch it if there was actually a chance that some of them would die.
I thought you were going to say.
yeah, like the Hunger Games, when they
Yeah.
actually have to fight each other.
We're putting
Is
them
an
all in a pit.
ostrich arsehole the same shape as a bagel?
It was. I think it wasn't even in a bagel.
So
That's
actually-
just what made
it's
me
the-
say
it's
bagel.
the
Bagel,
sphin-
right.
It's the sphincter. Is that
Yeah.
what they're eating?
Yeah, but
That's
not.
quite, you'd have to slow cook that because that's like shoulder or thigh. That's quite sinewy.
I
meat.
don't know how cooked
chewy.
these things are.
Stew.
What's the thing with the? Sorry to carry on talking about I'm Celebrity, but the thing with the fermented egg. Have you seen this?
Is that one of the specialties?
That's one of the
Like
specialties.
the 1,000-year-old
eating
egg.
things.
That's a
yeah.
Chinese delicacy, isn't it?
And it's
Yeah.
like black, and they have to. In
Yeah.
apparently, it's disgusting. And then I saw.
They used to
like,
eat them on Fear Factor a lot.
Yeah, is that? Yeah, they did,
Yeah.
didn't they? Yeah.
It was your greatest
What's-
fear.
why-
A
why is
1,000-year-old
that?
egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Spiders,
guess what? You've
scorpions.
got to eat one.
Yeah.
It's a bit
But like,
disrespectful
do you
to
think
do
a
it.
lot of places that serve those, it could be like 65-year-old egg, and they're just passing it? I wouldn't know.
Yeah, they can't wait that long.
As long as it goes
They're
black,
busy-
and just go,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you open a
100-year-old
shop
egg.
selling
Yeah.
1,000-year-old eggs, you're gonna have it's gonna be slow. Business will be slow for a long time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Forget your 5-year plan.
The news I was going to talk about
Anyway.
was Tom Hardy being cast as Sam
Oh
Fisher.
yeah, well done for not bringing it
That's
up
good.
before the podcast.
That's good.
Don't know if we mentioned this on the one where Nick from Gamer Disco was here, but he lives down the road from Tom Hardy. Did you guys know this?
No, I didn't.
No.
so I lived down the road from Nick.
Do you really?
Yeah,
So you live down the road or up the road from Tom Hardy?
I do.
Or
Apparently, so.
Geography.
Wow, this changes everything.
There it is.
What am I doing here?
well, you could have brought him.
Could be
well, you
still
could have brought him
Tom
here.
Hardy.
Could have brought him
Wow.
here. Yeah, if I'd you've met him.
Yeah, Tom Hardy was the first time I ever did a junket interview for a movie. It was for Warrior. I was a bit nervous about it, and I went in to sit down, and I was told what a really good idea before a junket gets going is like, just try and break their ice because they're kind of bored out of their minds because they're stuck in a room in the dark all day doing
Same
like
questions
40
as well.
same questions. Most of them fucking tedious. And so I was like, it was genuinely, this is my first ever junket interview. Tom Hardy looked at me just before the cameras went on. He went, "Don't fuck it up then." And I asked my first question. It wasn't a bad question inherently, and he just went, "That's a bit of a shit question." And I was actually a bit scared because he was filming Bane at the time, so he was
Big.
physically incredibly intimidating. And prior to that, I was in the kind of waiting room with all the other journalists, and a lot of them were like, "He's not very, he's difficult. He's very difficult." And you know what? It was a complete act. At the end of the interview, he was like, "That was really good, well done." He was really nice to me, really sweet, very generous.
Did he stand
I
up
loved
to
him.
say
He was great.
thank you and shake
Yeah,
your hand and all
yeah.
that? That's good. I like
And-
that.
And then he headbutted you.
And he was like, "Seriously, that's my favourite interview of the day." And I went, "I bet you say that to all the journalists." And he went,
Ah.
flirting.
Oh, did you touch
Yeah.
him up?
Yeah, he told me. Bane just went like that.
Oh my god.
Bane touched my back.
Wow. Did he have no hair?
Yeah, it was like they were filming it. They were filming.
He had the mask on and everything.
I think yeah, it was an outfit. Fulfilling my destiny. Yeah, the week after they filmed the opening sequence in Scotland or wherever
Wow.
they filmed it.
Like he just touched your back,
I just tickled it. Tickled it.
Gave you a little hug. Snap.
lifting you above the head.
Meanwhile, Joel Edgerton was like, "When's that Thing movie coming out? That looks rubbish." And it was.
Yeah, no, I refuse to watch that news.
Tom Hardy. We live in a world where Tom Hardy's going to be in a video game movie. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then
Be-
that was like not long after the Michael Fassbender Assassin's Creed
Like
thing as well.
Ubisoft after having an amazing E3, have continued on. Like that's
to fix video game
amazing.
movies.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. They've circumvented studio system.
Yeah.
They've gone straight to talent before director writer. I know they've got a writer attached for Splinter Cell, the guy who did the International. But obviously that makes it more attractive for a director to get on board now that you've got two of the most in-demand actors around. And then that means studios will clamour, I guess.
I'm calling it now. I think Michael Fassbender's going to drop out of Assassin's Creed.
You said this to me the other day.
You reckon?
I just get the feeling that he is done with blockbusters, and he's had a bit of success with Shame. And I just honestly think now he probably is at a point where he thinks, I don't have to do
He's had a bit of a
films
crossroads, I think.
I think he is, yeah.
So he can either continue, like, he could keep X-Men going. Like, you could have, as a legitimate star, you can have one franchise, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like, one kind of very popcorny franchise. Yeah. And the rest he could cultivate as a very serious career. But then doing more than one is, you're making a very conscious decision on your next 10 years of your career, I guess.
Because he has had a pretty
Harrison
solid
Ford.
run this year, hasn't he?
Definitely.
I guess Harrison Ford. If Harrison Ford hadn't signed up for Indiana Jones, he could have gone a different way. But then he signed up to be this kind of matinee idol.
But we'll see. I'm calling it now, though. That's my prediction.
I'd like it if he
I just think the
sticks
Assassin's
around.
Creed film is much harder to do as well than the Splinter Cell.
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
Splinter Cell could be, it won't be, but it could be super low budget. It could be almost like Taken or something. It could be really
in a
low
warehouse
budget.
somewhere.
Yeah.
As long as it's...
And it's just such an easier sell to audiences.
I think for the Assassin's Creed thing, they'd have to possibly just set it in the past and not worry about any of the Animus future stuff.
But that's because I wasn't sure if Fassbender was meant to be playing Desmond or...
I think what would happen is he would play Desmond or a new character.
Right.
And whatever historical relations would have to be Fassbender.
That's true, because it doesn't really necessarily have to be the game.
No, I think it would work best if they took whatever
a lot of jumping off
the
towers.
concept and just do it. Yeah, good for the end of the trailer.
Yeah. With the eagle sound, and then jumping off the tower, and then
a cat.
Coming 2014.
You can guess who he's going to play by looking at his chin. How good is his chin? Does he have a good chin? Because if he's got a good chin, then he's going to be.
Then
under
Hollywood
the hood.
is like your oyster. If you've got a good chin, you know, you Superman, Batman, you know, Captain America, good. Yeah.
Carl Urban, just a chin.
Exactly.
It's just a chin in search for a perfect role.
So, how did you guys get into the video game journalism industry?
Good question.
I thought it was just this year in review.
Yeah, no. This is the get to know the guest section.
Right.
And then we'll move on to that, if that's okay with you.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Are you sure? That's fine.
I'm not in the video game industry, so I'll just sit here.
Yeah, listen.
I mean, technically, I'm not a journalist.
Yeah, just your community,
What's
your
yeah,
job title?
social, all that sort of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, mine was a weird journey to where I got to.
Accidental.
Kind of accidental. Yeah, I started working for Rotten Tomatoes first.
Oh, really?
Which was the movie website that IGN used to own, and I was interning there whilst I was at university, just down the road from here, from this very flat, not from where you are listening to this, but from this flat. And I interned there because I was really into film, and I saw the advert on Gumtree one day, and it was simple as that. And like within a day of applying for it, I had the job.
It was on Gumtree.
It was on Gumtree, yeah.
Wow.
I know, how crazy is that? I know.
It's amazing.
And then I basically stayed there until I graduated, and then they sold Rotten Tomatoes. I stayed there and worked on Ask Man and IGN, and now I'm just there all the time.
Just most days.
Most days, yeah.
So your top tip is Gumtree.
Yeah, stay tuned to Gumtree all day long.
Because everyone's obviously always asking, how do I get involved in either the journalism
from as well.
Yeah.
You can get everything from there.
Yeah.
You would not believe how many times people ask how it's done, and there is no simple answer to the question, unfortunately.
Get yourself around in any way possible.
In any way possible.
Sleep around.
Sleep with everyone
Definitely
you can.
sleep
Everyone's hand job.
You sleep with me if you want, but I'm just putting that out there. You're not going to get a job.
But you're
Might-
engaged,
That's
engaged to be married, Tom.
Worth a try. She won't listen to this, though.
That is your social technique. You just put it out there.
Just put it out there.
If somebody wants to, come along.
So it's Gumtree or the Tom Butler fast track to...
But saying
It's very
that,
fast.
saying that, what actually got me the job in the first place, because obviously I had a lot of people applying for the job, was the fact that I had a film blog and I was writing about films every day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Is it still?
No, it hasn't been updated for a long, long
Can
time.
we still find it?
You probably could, yeah. But so I had a film
And what's
blog.
the name of the film blog?
I'm not telling you. But so I wrote a lot about film before so it was all there, it was ready to go. So if you've got something there that someone can read and is ready to go, then you're the proven product already. But I would also say, for advice, is there are so many jobs that work within video game media that aren't writing about video games. That's the one thing that people seem to not understand.
Well, it's good if you know something about video editing these days, because it's all shifting. I mean, the podcast format, I don't know if you heard, it's dead, and it's all about video now.
Yeah.
All about video.
I've got a face for radio though, so I'm going to stick with the podcasting thing until it really is dead.
Well, we've got not spoiling thing. It's not really. We've got a video podcast brewing, haven't we?
Yeah, we can
that is,
exclusively reveal now that it might happen.
That it might happen someday when we do it.
Yeah.
And we put it on the internet and we edit it. But I think we're going to do a video podcast in the future. That's going to be what we're going to be doing.
Well, all of the American IGN ones have gone that
Yeah,
way, except
yeah.
for Beyond.
Yeah,
And
I think we might do it slightly different
Yeah.
to what because they're kind of filming their podcast
Yeah.
with an eye to it being a video. But we might do something slightly different, I think. But we haven't really. It's very hard to crack a new format.
Oh yeah.
It's very hard. You don't want to basically just film a podcast,
Because it's
but
not
at the same time you don't want to make a TV show.
Yeah.
So it's trying to find a kind of unique format that would work.
Yeah.
On a 20-minute video.
We had some, Chris and
sick.
we had a bit of a loophole through YouTube where we were actually granted the ability to live cast. Only because we weren't supposed to have it, but then we emailed them and said, well, no, you told us we would, and they gave it to us through Machinima.
Brilliant.
But we did like 3 or 4 of those, but Chris has moved away from London now for a little while, but I think after the last one we kind of decided we really need to sit down and structure it more, because we were just getting live on YouTube and just going, hey, and but it's a good tool to have, so...
Yeah, well, when this podcast started, I thought, I'll just wing it.
Yeah.
Because everyone showed up here and they went, what are we talking about? I went, we'll just wing it. No
way.
Doesn't work.
The Stuart Reed maxim is, because Stuart Reed used to work a lot on the radio. For every hour of radio that you can do live on air, you should do an hour of prep, at least. That's the magic equation.
There's nothing.
We don't do it though.
Yeah, I mean, for the few podcasts that I listen to, the one thing that really, really makes me turn off within the first 5 minutes is pauses and
sexism.
Sort of, sexism, and people just kind of like just ambling through. You've got to have some enthusiasm. You've got to put something in to get something back. And I listen to so many podcasts, and they're so pedestrian, and we're just going to talk about this. But unless you put effort in, no one's going to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no skits on this particular episode, but we do a lot of stuff like that. And when people do end up hearing it, they go, "Oh, that's quite different." And we go, "Yeah, great, tell your friends." And then there's never a reply after that. So, Dan, what about you? How did you end up doing what you
like Tom? It's not a standard kind of pathway.
Dear
so
IGN,
no
I
way
like
can-
games. Could you please hire
No,
me?
I didn't do that. I kind of,
Well, that was the way.
yeah, it was a bit circuitous. I was doing a PhD at UCL and teaching English there, and then
You're a doctor.
No, because I never finished it. I'm 2 years in. Got an MPhil.
Okay.
It's basically
nothing.
It's like the wipeout paperweight of
Sure.
university degrees. So I was doing that. I was teaching there, and I just got really bored with it. I didn't really want to finish it, but I was kind of locked into becoming this academic, which I didn't want to be. And then I saw on the IGN UK blog roll that they were advertising for a job, and I applied. And it was kind of X Factor style, like hundreds or whatever,
Judges'
thousands
houses.
of applicants. Went to Alex's house. His wife's like, "What are all these people
Rihanna
doing
was there, it
here
was really
with
weird."
BO?"
And then you
Get
sang
rid of
in front of.
Yeah, I
Alex.
wrote in front of Alex. No, actually, that was part of the process. Actually, I had to submit just a CV, and then I got called in for an interview. Got called back for another interview, and then I think I had to do a written test. I had to write something in an hour
Wow.
on like the office's shittest laptop, and midway through writing it, it was on 0% battery, and I had to come out into the office. I was like, it's going to die in there, and I don't know if this is really fair. I can't work under these conditions, and I just stormed out there.
It's just got worse from there.
It's got worse. It's such a deep. I know. So that's how I got it. Really, just interview, like standard job process, which isn't. It was kind of just advertised like that.
And it was weird. I remember the sort of process, because I know a lot of people were interviewed for it. A lot of people whose names people probably would recognise as well, just to put it out there. But it was all about how you fit in with the team as well, because
of course,
we're such a close-knit office. And I know that that it was just one of those things that they just hit it off, and we've put up with them ever since.
I didn't think Alex liked me. I was like,
yeah, Alex doesn't like anyone.
But we had this discussion.
Alex was only warm to me in the last week.
Yeah,
because I said that to you, and you said that's the same with everyone, which made me feel good.
Because it's just suspicious.
470 applicants.
Will, our PR manager, my PR manager, and Tom. It's not IGN, it's just Tom Hardy. He saw the advert on Gumtree. He said 470 applicants. That's quite a lot. That's good. It made me feel better about myself.
Well done.
So here are the top tips. I mean, I used to work at Sega for a while, as listeners may or may not know, and QA is a good route into gaming. Full stop. So that's a foot in the door, and it's not all good, but you meet some good people, and that can lead to better things. So yeah, QA is.
Well, I think you're right in what you said, Tom. Like, there's so many jobs within games.
There are so
it doesn't
many.
have to be writing.
Don't
If you're
have to
not a
write
natural writer, there's so many other things you can
And
do.
writing is a very rare talent as well. A lot of people think they can write, but
It's
actually it's really hard. Like, really, really hard. And to make it seem effortless and natural is very, very difficult. But the more practice you put in, it can be taught.
Definitely.
It can be taught.
Well, Stephen King's a really good example of a writer who became a writer through writing.
Yeah.
Like, he wrote constantly. Like, he did the kind of Malcolm Gladwell magic 10,000 hours worth of practice. Like, if you do 10,000 hours worth of practice at anything, you'll be almost world class at it. And like, Stephen King was that. He just read constantly and he wrote constantly.
And his book on writing is very good.
Yeah, it's
called On Writing.
Sometimes when I'm writing,
Not good with the titles.
What's it about?
On.
sometimes when I'm writing, sometimes it literally just you can just have a stream of thoughts, and it will translate to the page really nicely. Other times it reminds me of revision, when anything else in the room is more interesting and more enticing than the writing you're doing. Staring at a blank wall is suddenly this magical experience.
Yeah. Oh, I must make that tea.
And you just get lost in your thoughts.
Well, I can't remember who said it. It might be JG
I must make a
Ballard, but it's
1,000-year-old
like-
egg.
But the thing is,
Starting now.
The
Starting
ultimate
now.
procrastination.
by watching it. but a sentence for like a writer, somebody who is naturally a writer, a sentence is the hardest thing to write for them. Like, anyone who's not a writer can just dash off a sentence, but for a writer, they'll kind of kill themselves over it.
You've made me feel great there,
There you go.
because that means I'm a writer.
Or you're just dyslexic.
That's not what I wanted to hear. So yes, sex with Tom Butler, hard work, be likable,
Hard work. It is
Yes.
hard work.
and you've got to be likable.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sums it up.
And Gumtree.
Yeah.
And Gumtree,
I emailed someone once about festival tickets to a music festival, and they responded, and then I sort of backed out straight away and went, oh, this is a stupid idea. And they kept on trying to text me to reassure me that it wasn't a scam, until I said, listen, no, I've already got tickets. And they said, okay, well, if you want an iPad, let me know, because I've got 3.
Amazing.
Yeah.
was it all
I'm
in capital letters as well?
I'm really
If
happy
you need
that
an iPad.
I'm really happy that I helped out that Nigerian princess
Exactly.
through Western Union.
And you, Jordan.
Me.
We've spoken about you on this podcast before. We've had you an interview that we did quickly at one of the pub quizzes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did too.
So yeah, people should know who you are. But you are making
I'm-
you and Chris.
Yeah.
You and Chris Pixel are
Yeah.
making the world's first.
So Chris is not here because, as I said, he's not in London, but he is meant to be coming
Not
down.
welcome back either.
No, well, he already had his chance to come on this podcast, didn't he?
Yeah, he just slept in.
Yeah.
And we were recording at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, what time is it?
That's all right. We just
man.
sat here and played trials. And
I'm so
everything.
wasted. Ugh.
Sadly, you probably have the most out of touch Super Pixel brother on the show to talk about the film anyway, because it's at animation stage, which I don't do. But I have spoken to Chris, and he said it is going
He's like,
very
yeah,
well.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. Just doing the PR stuff now.
He is on Twitter
I'm
less these
the
days.
PR guy. Yeah.
There is a trailer now, and I've seen it. And it's very, very good.
Oh, do you like it?
I do like it.
Oh,
yeah.
good. No, he worked really, really hard on that, and he is doing a lot of the animation. We're getting a lot of the voice actors are sending in their voices.
Should get Stu on.
I've heard that you might be having Stu.
I've heard Stu is on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm actually allowed to
Who
talk
else
about
is
or
in it?
not, but
Who else is in it?
well,
Really amazing.
whoever sends in their voice recorded part.
Don't
gets-
say that. God.
But so whoever's doing a voice gets basically to read the script, right?
Yeah, so it's worth auditioning just for that, so you can get a little preview.
Well, yeah, no. The thing is, on the website, there's ilovethehitsquad.com. You can still pre-order the DVD for the movie that hasn't been made yet, and you can actually buy yourself to be pixelated into the film, which is still happening. So you can still do that, and all proceeds go towards actually helping Chris work full time on the movie while he's not working.
Is there a limit to that?
A limit to
To
what?
how many people you can pixelate and put in the movie?
Well, because it's all background parts, so we can just put
right.
everyone in a
I
crowd
see,
scene
I
and
see.
go,
It's like
cool,
Where's
done.
Wally?
Yeah.
Well, tell me, have you got like a large family that you all promised?
Yeah, I was
Promised them
thinking.
all parts in the
Yeah.
movie.
Well, Ready Game Fire is going to be in it. I've heard.
And
That was one of
I'm
the-
playing another part as well. aren't
That's
I?
right. Yeah, they won the prize in one of the quizzes, IGN quiz.
Yeah,
Well, see,
yeah.
it's all like there's like 6 degrees of separation right here.
There are no degrees of separation here. We're sat here
Have you
touching
seen
each
the-
other.
In New
Like
Zealand,
everywhere-
2 degrees apparently.
Is that right?
Everyone
Really?
knows someone who knows someone that you know.
Have you seen the what's it called? Everywhere, every time.
Everything, everywhere, adverts.
Everything. Kevin Bacon
Doesn't understand
He
the
doesn't know
rules,
the
does
rules
he?
at all.
Doesn't understand.
It's just
what
linking.
rules?
He's just
The 6 degrees of Kevin
stream of
Bacon.
consciousness.
Yeah, but he does say the phrase "bacon up," so
Bacon up.
Yeah, but
it's fine.
What's that really weird one that
It's
Natalie
quite
Portman
obvious
fits into, where it's like the bacon something degree thing, where you have to be linked within the Kevin Bacon thing with films, but also have like some kind of academic thing linked with some academic. It's really like she's one of the
Ooh,
only people who
I've
fit
not
in
heard
with
of
it.
this
You
It's
know who's
really
quite
bizarre.
a good person for things like that? Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop was published in an academic journal writing
Okay.
about the Roman Empire. He's really intellectual.
Is there anything that he can't do?
Well, he might be in
We'll
that.
put a shirt on.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, he's got one leg shorter than the other. Do you know this?
Has he?
Because he was in a car crash not long ago,
Oh.
or a few years ago. Anyway, so if you ever see him in a picture, look at Iggy Pop, and if it's a full-length photo, he'll be doing this. I can't do it because it's audio, but he'll be stood up.
He's already got a leg up.
Put my headphone up. And he's always got one leg stuck out like that because it's the long one.
So he's like he's doing like a thrust.
He's making it
okay?
like perspective.
Or always putting his head up.
perspective.
Always putting his leg up on something.
Yeah, exactly.
That is brilliant. So you are making that
Mini
movie.
fillet?
and
Yeah,
it's
so
going very well.
We worked really closely together to write the screenplay. Basically, Chris has been working on this film for 4-5+ years.
Too long,
on
baby.
and off. And so we got the screenplay done, but he quit his job and he's moved up north somewhere. I don't really know the UK very
Just
well.
north.
It's near
That's
Liverpool.
fine. I don't know the UK very well. Not
And
London.
he is working full time on animating it, and he said it's going very well. He's done a few scenes. I haven't seen them, but I do believe that they would look very good because I know what his. I mean, the trailer was great.
No, the trailer is great. It
teaser
is
trailer
good.
was really good.
And I'm excited to be a part of this, and I can't wait to see the final thing. And
Yeah.
everyone else should be excited as well.
Am I right in thinking it might be in 3D if you pay?
Do you know what? We actually did play around with like red blue 3D
Anaglyph.
Oh my
at
god!
one point.
Don't do that.
You can play Black Ops in Anaglyph.
But for a
So one of the House of the Dead games that I worked on as well had that, and it's not. You think, oh, that's cool, but it's not cool.
Your eyes are
No, it's
bleeding
not.
after 10 minutes of
It's not
playing.
good.
but
Well-
it is going to be HD, even though it is a pixel animated film.
No, that's
But,
good.
yeah.
Those are the magic words.
And it's going to be very 80s and very typical kind of like, I'm not going to say too much about the plot and things, but it's very sort of standard kind of 80s 90-minute long film type plot.
So it's
you know, like
Bill and Ted.
yeah, Bill and
meets-
Ted. Back to the Future is a huge one for Chris. He loves Back to the Future.
So do I.
Is it a musical in any way?
It's about a band. So it is musical in the sense that it involves music, but there's not going to be big like musical set pieces in it.
The animated Spinal Tap is what you're selling it
Yeah.
as now.
Well,
I've said that.
Okay,
I was
cool.
thinking Rock
I'll
of
go with that.
Ages, maybe.
Yeah.
Poodle Rock, but that was the worst film
Which
I've
you
seen all
hated.
year.
You
So
walked-
don't
you walked
make
out-
it like
you
that.
walked out
I actually
of that.
walked
Alright.
out of it. Yeah, don't make it like that.
Okay, I
Yeah.
won't. I'll just send him a quick email now.
Yeah.
And now we move on to
Dear one
our
listener.
very vague main topic. Guys, we're pretty much at the end of the year.
What did you like about 2012.
Yeah.
We are literally 4 weeks from Christmas.
Oh,
Pretty much.
man.
That's crazy.
When you get to our age,
What's that mean?
time goes bloody quickly, doesn't it? That's all I was going to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kids.
Well, the
You
thing
damn
I know
kids
about
and your
time
music.
is that because you're, say, however old you are, if you were 30, I mean, old people, maybe if you're 30.
Both in our 30s.
Yeah.
But yeah, more
a
honest.
year is 1/30th of your life, but
Yeah.
when you're 15, a year is 1/15th of your life.
Yeah,
I've
so I
tried-
was just going to
yeah,
say
yeah.
that, yeah.
I've tried to
it does
explain
seem
this to
to go
people.
quicker,
Most
yeah.
people get it, but
Yeah,
some
a lot
people
of people
don't
don't.
understand what you're saying. But yeah,
I like that. I like when people really narrow it down and go, when you're 1 year old, that's your whole life. A year is your whole life.
But I remember my nan saying she hated Christmas, and
You don't know about it when you're 1.
the older you get, you'd see why grown-ups just. It does feel like it's round again before you know it. And I mean, this year we had was pretty short. Anyway, that's the
It's
weather.
really melancholic.
It's gone
4 weeks from
really-
Christmas. That
Well,
means
I've
the
got-
Christmas lights probably went up in Oxford Street about 4 months ago.
Sponsored by Marmite.
Sponsored by Marmite,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, Christmas is nearly here, and that means the end of the year. Gentlemen, what's been your highlights of this year, entertainment-wise? Gaming, movies,
We talk about movies
news stories. Yeah, we
sometimes.
do. Yeah, I mean,
You dip your toe.
Doesn't have to be
I'll start with an
games.
obvious one then.
Go on then.
Mass Effect 3 and the See, I finished Mass Effect 3.
Controversial ending.
I finished it after the new ending DLC was up, so I
Okay,
played
geez.
it through and had the extended ending. And as much as I disagree with the way that fans reacted to the ending, I'm really happy that I played it with the extended.
I haven't even gone back
thing
to the
afterwards.
extended. Did you finish it, Tom?
Yeah.
I thought it was quite.
I
I know it's quite
I
boring.
replayed it. I replayed the ending sequence after the DLC, and to be honest, like while it kind of elaborated, it didn't really elaborate on the parts that I wanted to be elaborated on.
Because
It
at the
just
end of
kind of
Mass Effect-
expanded the fuzziness. It just kind of
they
went like,
land on
oh.
a kind of tropical island, like a
Yes.
jungle
Yeah.
island, and it just becomes like lost.
I was just going to say, it was very much like the ending of Lost. It's like, you didn't answer all the questions I wanted you to answer, but then they're kind of going, well, yeah, but it was always going to be a
my bad
character piece.
experience with Mass Effect 3 is like the sort of 3 or 4 hours preceding the ending is just surviving like waves and waves of enemies. Like just like
Yeah.
it feels like
That bit on Earth.
just like
Yeah, the
waves,
Earth
like
battles.
in London where you just like it feels like you're playing horde mode or something. Like the
Yeah,
enemies just
definitely.
get harder and tougher and more multiple.
It's pretty
And
old
then-
school in that way.
Yeah, at the end, the final thing where you've got to make the choice, you've got to walk, and the drum's like, dum-dum-dum.
I didn't
It's a
even
bit
know-
Terminator, dum-dum, dum-dum-dum. But
Hands Zimmer.
where I'm walking, it's fucking miles away. It's taking me forever. I'm just like staggering.
I'll be
Did you-
honest, I
did you
didn't know
know
what
what-
I was
I didn't
choosing
know what-
for. I don't know.
I didn't know which choice was which. I thought.
And I think if you're going to give them free choice, you kind of want to know maybe what the consequence of that choice is going to be, rather than
Yeah.
an
But we don't
ambiguous
always
colour.
in life, do we?
We don't in life, but this isn't life, and I've played that game for 40 fucking hours.
Yeah. What life?
Yeah. I spent
game
20
of
hours
life.
trying to knob that alien.
Did you have sex with anyone in
I
Mass
didn't in
Effect 3?
3. I didn't in 3.
I had a lesbian relationship.
Yeah, me too.
Oh.
Did you?
Yeah, because I played as Femshep.
Well, me
Yeah.
too. So we've had the superior experience.
Well, so they say.
So
But I haven't played the tennis band.
You know what's weird? In Mass Effect 3, I didn't even see Chobot once.
Didn't
I
you?
never found her.
What do you mean
She's,
you never
uh,
found
I
her?
never.
She was like one of the first missions.
She's
You get
right
the option
there.
to pick her up.
I completely missed her. Never saw her
Right.
in the entire game.
That's
Yeah.
probably
I could see how you
probably why
could...
she called you Dan Hill.
Yeah.
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 Dan Hill.
She
I
gets
just,
fed...
I just left her in the station. Fuck you.
She gets fed all of the data of people who just passed her by. And she sits there and
Actually,
goes,
that is
right.
fucking weird that she was even in the game to start with.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were in Fez. Just there on top with a cube going, come on! You'd
I'd
love
love
that.
that, I would
I
love
would
that.
actually, I prefer that.
Yeah.
I really liked the somebody came out with this really over the top elaborate like theory about the ending before the DLC came out, and I actually thought that it was really good, and I think that whoever wrote this originally gave BioWare like a really good getaway vehicle for
Yep.
this controversy, and they didn't go with it, and I was kind of disappointed because I quite liked that guy's idea, the one about how he was indoctrinated and it was all happening in his mind,
Yeah.
which we were just talking about as a shit end to a story.
Yes.
It
it
is
was-
a cop-out ending.
It is a
kind
cop-
of
but, like,
dream Dallas.
I feel like in this situation, if that was the ending, it would have been like,
Yeah.
wow, cool,
it's
well
a good way
done.
to
like,
put like a stop till the kind of
yeah, like the thing how his pistol didn't run out of ammo and he wasn't wearing the armor anymore and all this stuff, and that just all kind of made sense.
No, I read a few of those as well.
Yeah.
But at this point in November 2012, do you really look back and think that was one of the best games I've played all year?
I still enjoyed it.
Like I said, I played
Yeah,
it.
I
With
mean, I enjoyed it.
I like Mass Effect 2 a lot more.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
exactly.
Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I actually did all 3 of them this year. So when I look back on it, it's like one giant glorious experience for me. And I can't, because I played it with the extended ending. I thought it was great for what I got. But if I'd played it with the original ending, I probably would feel a little bit shortchanged. But I thought the ending. I like the way that what you thought you knew was turned on its head, and it's like this is what's really happening, and I really really like that. And I thought it was handled really well. And so yeah, I mean, I would definitely put it up there as one of my favourite gaming experiences of the year. But
it's a very accomplished game. It's very It's got a lot of things to respect. It's obviously incredible production values, etc. Acting, performance.
Yeah, in terms of
AAA,
AAA,
music's great in it as well.
But
multiplayer is pretty fun.
yes, you keep trying to get me to. I've recently done some DLC for Mass Effect, but once you've finished it and then you have to reload an old save just to use the DLC.
Yeah.
It feels weird going back to Mass Effect once you finished it because it's very final.
I haven't played. Yeah, I haven't played any of the new DLC for that reason, because it's sort of like that whole ending of the, your deeds will be remembered. But here's what could have happened if you didn't play the rest of the game at that point.
So BioWare's looking for feedback on what they want for what people want from the next game.
Yeah,
I mean,
prequel or sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what would
Surely
you
they've
want?
already started.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine
know why they say
imagine the framework for the game is there, and I guess it's just about fitting the story in with it. I imagine it's going to be next gen, and that's why they're saying we're working on it and it's coming. But
Frostbite.
And it's working with Frostbite. But I'd kind of like a parallel story, I think, rather than a prequel or sequel. Yeah, because
like an ODST type thing.
Exactly, because you could do that easily. It's such a massive universe.
Yeah.
It'll be a co-op game though, won't it? With card playing elements. Something ridiculous.
I just want it to be a Lord of the Rings style gambling game.
Lego Mass Effect.
Lego, there you go, done.
There you go, done.
Nick's play that.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
Quite, even though they do like one or now 2 a year, I quite like more Lego games. Quite like Lego Back to the Future. Lego Jurassic Park is the holy grail.
Is that coming?
No.
Oh,
if
right.
They just need if they did
It'll
that,
come.
I would just.
Has there ever been Lego Jurassic Park toys?
No, the thing is, they do make Lego
Dinosaurs,
dinosaur toys,
yeah.
which are styled very, very obviously,
I actually
but legally different
Yeah.
from.
I took
Jurassic
pictures
Park.
of some recently
But
because
it's
they
still
are
like-
so Jurassic Park.
But it's just not the same.
It's not.
It's not the same.
Unless it's officially
But if they make that, then just gonna take a week off work.
Yeah, Lego James Bond.
Lego James Bond.
Well.
Lego James Bond would be, yeah. Imagine the
They need to
DLC
get
for
more
that.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what about you guys? I mean, what's been the gaming incident this year?
Incident.
Well, just whether it was a news story or an event or a game that you played personally. What has been your gaming highlight of the year?
Trials Evolution. I in terms of like work and a work game, because very often, like, I think people think working at IGN like you play games all the time, and it's actually sometimes quite more banal than that. Like,
Yeah, it's quite bad
It's
how
a website
little-
trying to make a website work, and quite a big website. It's quite a lot of actual work. 'Cause Tom's always in the treadmill, just powering the website, keeping it going. But so we don't always play video games all the time, especially not lunches. But Trials was the first game of the year where we played every single day for like a month.
There's so many games of multiplayer, but none with really good couch multiplayer. We
Well,
all
that's
sit around
becoming a
and play
dying
on
art,
the
isn't
I
it?
forgot all
It's
about
so
Trials.
yeah,
As well.
and Trials
It's the
Evolution.
interaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because what recently multiplayer has become is this incredible. It's become a global phenomenon, but an anonymous phenomenon where everyone plays but nobody interacts. Or if it is,
phenomenon, I
an
like
anonymous phenomenon
Phenomenon.
where everyone just slags each other off, and
do.
it's got this horrible reputation. But playing together on things like Mario Kart 7 at the tail end of last year, and then Trials Evolution this year, it's just swearing at each other, I think.
It's just sat there and swearing.
Well, not in Mario Kart 7, it's not.
Oh yeah, There's little
Because it's
kids.
just you going, I'll be using the gyro. We've had a few games online of
Are
Mario
we using the gyro? Yeah.
We've had a few games online where we've been texting or calling each other on our cell phones and going, right, okay, so just wait there. I'm just going to get this game up and running. You
It's a
can't
nightmare
talk
to
to each other
organise.
through it. Yeah,
Remember we tried to
ridiculous.
organise that last Christmas when we were all off.
We tried to play Mario Kart on Christmas Day, and it was just you couldn't even get on the server because everyone was
you
trying to
should
play
have given
it.
yourselves Christmas Day off, really, guys. To be honest.
Yeah.
It's still. I mean, I was saying to Jordy before we started recording today that I mean, I only use my 3DS for Mario Kart still. I mean, Annie thinks she's better than me, but she's not. But we play it a lot.
Annie,
and
to be fair, is very, very good.
for a girl. That's what you're thinking, isn't it, Jordan?
I only like playing it when it's just you and her, because at least that way I still get a bronze medal every time.
Yeah, there's an RGF community room, but the leaderboards reset every 2 months.
Is that correct?
So it's pretty rubbish.
Bullshit.
Every 2 months I come in it and I'm like, this is going to be me, no
That's
bronze.
my time.
Yeah.
But
The 3 people involved.
obviously Daniel said trials, but I think in terms of that being a good example for games that have really done it, I think downloadable games this year have really shown what can be done, and how you don't have to have the AAA games. It doesn't have to be that, because you've got Trials Evolution, Journey, obviously, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Fez did really well. Obviously, Minecraft is just like crazy big on Xbox at the moment, massive. But also things like Joe Danger, which looks really good, and Walking Dead, which
Oh man,
everyone at IGN is talking about Game of the Year.
is it tomorrow?
It's actually
Final
like
Tomorrow is the final episode, isn't it?
it hurt me a little bit actually, because I recently got
No
episodes
spoilers.
1 to 4.
No spoilers, I haven't played it yet.
I'm right at the start,
Oh
but
man,
with all this hype,
Yeah, because I was going to say
It's a lot of
I
hype.
was actually like banking them until Christmas, and now I feel like I have to play it because I'm quite worried.
Yeah,
of spoilers,
exactly.
'cause I know the ending is always supposed to be quite powerful, whatever that is.
episode 3 was something else.
Yeah,
The last one wasn't.
just need to play it. But Journey is a good one. Like Journey, I think is possibly my game of the year.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons it's my game for the game of the year, I moved in to a new place this year and sharing with 2 flatmates, 2 mates I've known for a long time, and one, they both don't play video games. One in particular, I don't think he's had any kind of he's never really had video games in his life before when he was a kid growing up. And I came home from work one night and I put a PlayStation in the living room, and I came home, and he has quite a kind of straight-laced job. He works in politics, and I came home and he was just sat in the living room and he'd almost finished Journey, and he's just like, I don't know what this is, but it's incredible.
yeah, I mean,
He's a super intelligent guy. He's very bookish, and he's just like, I don't know what this is.
I have no words.
'Cause I think he has, been led to believe video games are incredibly violent, but that's what they are, and that's what all video games basically
Yeah.
are. And he's just like, what is this experience? Like, he was almost in tears.
Journey really is. I mean, for people like for grown-ups, as we unfortunately are now. I mean, we're all so busy that I've been playing Assassin's Creed 3 because I was on a show the other day and I needed to talk about it. But I sunk what felt like days upon days into it, and then it said 25% complete, and it's just like, oh,
that is
God.
Because you didn't collect all the feathers, though. Is that why?
No, but my
That is
point
a boring
is,
game.
it is dull and it's long, and 3-hour experience is as good as Journey, and I loved the Unfinished Swan as well. They're what I kind of gravitate towards now, just because I'm at that point in my life where you just got to prioritise with your time.
I think the running time of games is becoming more variable. Because I think when I was growing up, you played a game for ages and ages, but that was because it was dilated because it was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it
you
took a
couldn't
lot of
save it.
time. Yeah, and you couldn't save it and things like that. And then,
Did you ever leave your Mega Drive on all day secretly
Yes.
without telling your parents?
of course.
Oh no, my parents knew.
But now you've got these like 1, 2 hour, 3 hour experiences that kind of like movie length. But things like Dear Esther as well this year that you can play in single sitting, but then you probably maybe play again like 3 weeks later.
I'd rather that, because a lot of AAA games feel bloated and they feel like they've just got so much filler in there. And if they cut out a lot of the bullshit, hopefully it would be half the price as well.
Yeah,
And I think it would
I
be
think that's
win-win
because,
for
I think
everybody.
they're in a kind of, because of the pricing structure of it.
Yeah.
Is like if you spend a lot of time making a AAA game, there's a lot of pressure on you to make it at least 12 hours or 10 hours, otherwise you'll get a backlash. Especially if you don't have like a beefy multiplayer component like COD.
Yeah.
People will just have a go at you. So if you make a 6-hour AAA game with amazing production values put out for £40, you'll get a backlash. It's just like, well, you
Yeah.
can't make a game of that quality.
Yeah. I can definitely see myself playing Walking Dead through again afterwards and making the opposite
The opposite
decision,
Yeah.
just to see how different it is. But well, it'd be the opposite, won't it? No, but Assassin's Creed is like, I haven't played the new one yet, but I do like to play them, but I never ever see myself playing them ever again. It's kind of like, cool, I know the story. That's all. I play it for the story. I don't collect the feathers or the.
Yeah, hats
It's
off to
just-
people who finish those games, because I just burn out.
Yeah.
So, like the amount of games that I've got in my collection that are now like half finished is just embarrassing.
It is. It is.
So, Jordan, what would you say is your biggest gaming
I
highlight?
don't know.
of the year?
My gaming year this year started off with me still playing a lot of games from last year.
Same here.
I played through
Skyrim. I'm still playing
Skyrim. Yeah, definitely. Arkham City. I played in the Game Plus mode. And
with all the
did
costumes.
all the collectives, all the challenge maps and things like that. And I was playing that up until about April or May. I think it's a really good game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
With our kind of the amount of free time that we have. Yeah, I played a lot of other stuff this year as well.
Yeah. Trials was very good. I like the fact in the multiplayer that you don't have to be online at the same time as people to play against them.
Yeah.
I think you guys are both on my Xbox Live, and I had
that's
a lot
one of the
fun
most
trying to beat.
driving. That's the thing that drives you to restart and restart when you see your mate's smug little game attack.
Yeah.
Float past you.
I'm also friends with
It's
with
a smug little dot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like,
yeah.
take that.
Goodbye.
Oh, how many times did you crash? 4. Oh, look at
the
this.
bit you think you're doing really well, you're way out ahead, and you hit a bit, fuck, and the dog goes, goodbye.
You can just imagine the person, even though they're not even online, going like, see ya.
Look, I did this bit first time.
Yeah.
Have you guys played the DLC for Trials?
I haven't actually, no.
We've played some multiplayer for me.
And they're really they're kind of quite strongly themed, aren't they?
Yeah,
The
they're
jungle
really,
level,
really
it's like-
fucking cool.
Some of the single player levels are amazing as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
you showed me some of them last time I was here, actually.
No, it wasn't out then. So I was just
No,
showing you
okay,
normal-
not that then.
I was showing you maybe user created.
Oh, yes, you
Comment
were,
level.
yeah.
I mean, some of the user created stuff is incredible.
Yeah, there's some great ones where the acceleration and the gravity's been turned
Oh.
way up. And, yeah, it's a lot of
I'm
fun.
friends on live with the Loading Bar Cafe account, which is not just Jimmy's account, but the customers come and use it. So some of the times that account has on
Send more
trials.
swear words then to that account.
Yeah, he knows it. I talked to him about it last time he was up here actually, and he was like, "It's not me. There's this one guy who comes and sits in and plays trials all day and gets all the best times."
I imagine his gamer points as well, just sat there.
Jimmy,
Nice.
yeah.
Another game that's good for that is Need for Speed. Obviously.
Oh yeah, no, we talked about this
Oh,
at the gamer disco.
Yeah. Because obviously everything is tracked against your friends.
Yeah.
Speed cameras, jumps,
Your face on billboards.
times, yeah, all of that stuff. And I just think it's such a good way of doing it. Such a good way.
Well, people like the Hitman contracts mode, don't they? In the new game, have you guys played that?
I haven't played Absolution yet.
So what was your highlight?
Oh, I don't know. I've been really looking forward to Halo 4 because I'm a big Halo fan.
Did it meet your expectations?
Well, that's what I can't decide. I really enjoy it, but I don't know if it's I was looking forward to it all year so much that when it did come out, it was like, cool, done, finished. What's next?
Yeah,
it wasn't
I'll
kind of
tell
like
you
I
what,
wasn't
it's
sitting
a
there going, "Oh
9.8
my
out
god."
of 10. That game. It's definitely a 9.8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Can you say that?
Yeah.
That's what
I loved
say
it.
it's,
that's what we gave it.
Yeah.
This is like Tom. You told me that when I left the gamer disco the other night, I was like, "See you on Halo," and you said, "I'm not gonna play Halo 4." And then he comes online the other night, and then was on Twitter going, "Oh, I really enjoyed it actually." And then Black Ops came out, and all my Halo friends have left me.
Yeah.
But one thing I have been really enjoying about it is the online co-op stuff that comes out episodically.
Spartan Ops.
That's what we played.
It's really cool. Everyone's got each episode's got a really cool CGI cutscene, and then you go in and play all these missions that tell a story. It's kind of like an expansion to the game.
Episodic gaming.
Yeah.
But that's I mean, Spec Ops has always been really strong in the Call of Duties. And
Oh, well,
speaking of which,
Call of Duty franchise is something I haven't done before, so
see.
I'm kind of like, I don't know. Because I know that if I get involved, I'll be involved.
Spec Ops mode is great. It's
Yeah.
like co-op.
Spec
like-
Ops
Oh, okay.
no, it's my favourite thing about Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a shame it's obviously not on this one, but
And actually, speaking of Spec Ops, that was another gaming highlight of the year. Spec Ops: The Line.
Oh yeah,
I didn't finish it.
didn't play.
That
I haven't
was-
played it either.
That was a good one. That was a nice little surprise.
Everyone said that though. It's just I
Now-
never got around. I
and
might play it because I
yeah.
have it at home. I do have it at home.
Well, now you're in that kind of. Now you've had so many people say it's going to be good, whereas obviously for me it was a little surprise.
Expectations are quite moderate
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
time, yeah. 2K have had an amazing year.
A fantastic year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've put out some good games.
Actually-
right from Darkness 2. Darkness 2 is a pretty good game. Like, it's a good, solid game.
It's good and it's
It's not
big, and
exceptional, but
if
it's
you
a good
like,
game.
yeah, if
But
you love
way
that kind of
through
thing.
to like
good for
XCOM
making
and
money if you've got
Borderlands.
limited edition statuettes.
So your answer to what your gaming highlight was is that you don't know.
All my games from last year. No, I think
You've just had a nice year.
Halo 4's campaign was very Halo. I think 343 did a really good job of taking the franchise and making it better even. But it was very familiar. It was very Halo. But that's what I wanted.
Cool.
If it was really different, I would have been like, oh, it's different.
Yeah.
I think actually, speaking of surprise
Don't reinvent
games.
the Halo.
Hey.
Not really.
That's gold. That
kind
is.
of a wheel shape.
Are you trying out lines on this podcast and then?
Yeah, we'll revise it. That's what Tom's doing. He's got the running order of the IGN podcast there.
Actually, something just popped into my head. Dishonored. I really liked that game. It was very good.
I do like that game.
It was quite a surprise too. I mean, people kind of knew that it was going to be a good game, but then because it was a new thing, there was always that kind of uncertainty.
I
Like what's happening with Zombie U.
Yeah. I wanted to play it, but I wanted to play it if I got it for free,
Which you did.
and I didn't end up wrangling a copy.
I'll lend it
so
to you.
I'll lend
Thanks,
it to you
mate.
if you
Hey,
don't.
that's all right.
If you don't,
That's
get it from
another
him.
one that it was maybe a couple of days of playing to get through the campaign, but you can definitely see yourself playing it again.
Dishonored is the kind of game that I will play next year. You know, when
And
it's
you'll be,
cheap.
oh, my game of the year is one from last year,
You can get through it in about.
like Arkham City.
The thing is, I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, the great thing about Dishonored is I played it, and immediately I wanted to go back and play it with different sort of decisions and different tactics." But I didn't. But I still enjoyed it all the same. I kind of felt like I played in the style that I would play. That I made my decisions, I made my choices. That's how I would approach that game. I don't want to really explore it the other way.
I think
I don't want to go in all guns blazing.
Well, I played it through a second time to try and get one of the ghost achievements where you don't get detected the entire time and don't kill anyone. And that was took me 3-4 times as long as doing it just normally.
Well, I think, I mean, it's
You have
always,
to keep reloading.
you always, when you finish, that's when you say, I think I might do this game
might
again,
do that
and
again.
do the bad playthrough. But once again, it just comes down to not having enough time,
Yeah.
which sucks. Dan, what sticks out in your head as your gaming high point for you?
I think it's either Journey or Trials. And the thing, what I like about Trials, I went to Finland where they made the game. I went to Helsinki, but we were talking about earlier.
Doritos.
You know, they gave me. Yeah. It's just a great game, but what I like about it is it's a difficult game.
Yes.
And one of my favourite games of this generation of consoles was Super Meat Boy. It still is. I play Super Meat Boy quite regularly.
Yeah.
And it's punishing, and I love platforming games. Platforming were always my favourite games as a kid.
Well, they were the first person.
It was
shooters of
the
day, weren't
dominant genre, especially on the consoles I had on.
they?
So
Yeah,
it's
man, I
nice.
love platform gaming too.
Platforming games, just the pleasures of jumping between platforms and on things.
And the platforms that disappear. And you
And
follow
and
them.
it's it's
Or
it's
the
a
ones
very
that spikes go, shink.
forget about you kind of your motion capture faces and branching narratives. It was a test of pure skill
Yeah.
and reflexes and dexterity. And Trials is, for all intents and purposes, this isn't an original observation, but it is a platforming game.
Yeah.
It's from going from different stages. It's about skill. It's about knowing how to control that thing on the screen that you're responsible for, and that's why I love it. It's a real test of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I like. I'm an old school gamer as well, so I like grinding really hard platform levels to get that high score. Like a couple of years ago, I really loved Pac-Man Championship Edition DX.
Tom loves this.
I love Pac-Man Championship.
That was a genuine
DX.
quiver, that was.
I love that.
You
You
missed
played
it.
that
hard.
game of disco.
I was playing a game of disco, absolutely steaming drunk. And I was
You were good. I think I've got a
absolutely
picture
loving
of you.
it, yeah.
You're like, I've got this shit. Oh, I've died.
I've died.
And like
I was too drunk.
I think a lot of younger gamers don't. That's not how they approach video games because they've been raised on Halo. I mean, like Mike, Mike is the Ready Game Fire guy, and he doesn't like, just playing a level to get a score. He needs the story and the motivation and all of that. So but I did miss those days. I mean, next week we'll be talking about the rise and fall of the arcade scene, and that obviously plays into that. It used to be about getting them high scores, and now it's about I don't even know what it's about anymore. What is it about?
It's about making your avatar look like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
And
buying
getting-
stuff for your
buying a
avatar
little
off the
pug.
store.
Making really obscenely rude logos for your Call of Duty team.
I saw a great picture. Someone had screen capped.
Yeah, I
Screen
saw that.
captured
Was that
Nintendo Land.
Yeah, and there's
and
penises.
it was just a valley of penises.
Why is Reggie doing that?
And what is Reggie doing?
How are they going to How are they going to moderate that? Because you can obviously have text filters so people don't use rude words. But if you're talking about like a little picture that someone's done that will pop up when you walk past them in Nintendo Land,
Willy.
how are you going to moderate that?
It's all in the future, Chris. We're all going to find out together.
Yeah, it'll be another system. It'll be a firmware update where they go, all right, no one can draw pictures anymore. Done.
Yeah. Or imagine having to create the filter for penises, and you've just got to draw every
variation.
Imagine if somebody created 100% foolproof penis filter technology, and the picture of your knob was the one that got through. Like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
I think that's a very exciting.
Well, all the variations, and my one didn't come
Everyone
up.
said
Thank
it was
you very much.
normal.
Well, mine slipped through the net because I pushed it through.
Well, again, like I said, I've got a QA background, so I mean, whenever a new game
It's
will come
lonely
along,
being a fisherman, pushing it through the net.
I would like to. I would be the guy who would search for the words that the profanity filter wouldn't detect. So that was fun. You know, writing a bug with the following words get through. I was just going to list some of them here, but I remember they were mostly racial slurs, so I'm going to leave them.
I got my first detention ever for going onto like a DOS system and typing in words so that it would, every time you put like sex, it would say sex not found.
Oh,
And
you
just thinking,
anarchist!
I used to make Workbench on my Amiga. Like, talk to me like a right dirty slut. But it had it, but
Weird.
and then I used to play Lemmings. So you know that was my Sunday night.
Balance.
What movies have you guys seen this year? What you now think were?
I thought that was the
pretty
question.
good?
What movies have you guys seen this year? Like, Jesus.
We get to see a lot of films.
Start in the beginning.
Guff.
Yeah, we get to see a lot.
Would you guys? Would everyone in this room be able to say their film of the year? Do you reckon? And I'd like Will to shout out his film of the year as well.
I let these boys go first because I might take theirs.
I would say it's been a year where the big blockbusters have delivered for once. They have really delivered.
Do you
You
still
stole my line.
Now, do you still think The Dark Knight Rises is the best in the series?
You haven't seen it again, have you?
I haven't
You've
seen
seen
it
it twice.
I've seen it twice. Yeah.
I thought it was better.
Did I say it was the best in the
You
series?
did. You said it was your
So
favourite
it
of
was
the
your
series when we
favourite.
did the backcast.
Yes, then I'll stick by that. I do still think it's my favourite. Although I do obviously love Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, I still think this one is the most coherent and most well structured and beautifully made and blah blah blah.
And is it your favourite of the year?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tricky one, really.
Even with the plot holes.
Plot holes, but don't bother me because I don't really
I didn't
follow
bother
plots
believing
that well. Anyway, so
He was like, he's running. He's got a plane. I'm happy.
I'd say it's
That thing just blew up.
The Dark Knight is up there for me with Looper,
Still yet to see
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Skyfall, Avengers, and a film called Sightseers, which is this British comedy which is out next week.
Oh, someone who got a.
Mine as well.
That's
Yeah.
Will's as well.
Yeah.
I have not seen. But yes, I remember you talking about it now. Actually, yes, it's on the list.
Yeah.
It's on my 2C list. Yeah.
But it's very sort of paper thin. Like last year, I seem to think I can't even think what I said was best last year. But it's often normally there's one that's way out ahead. But this year it's very
There's a
close.
lot of really high budget. We're talking about sort of genre movies, I guess. But I love the Avengers at the beginning of the movie. At the beginning of the year, because we kind of were a bit worried. Even had great talent involved, that it was going to be a bit of a flop. But I actually thought it was a pretty good movie.
I think-
like, it was as good as that movie could be. I think.
I
Yeah.
think,
I
I
do genuinely think it was as good as that movie could really be, with all those moving parts.
No
Yeah.
one I've spoken to is really disappointed with the Avengers.
I think
Well,
it was
Alex-
also like an element of surprise type thing with that too, because people were kind of like, well, it could be shit, and then it wasn't really shit, and so people kind of went, wow, that was. The reaction
it's
wasn't kind of
humorous.
like,
I
oh
think
yeah,
they
that was as
judged-
good as I thought. It was more
It,
kind of like, oh, that
they
was
ju-
actually really
they
good.
judged the tone of it quite well.
Yeah.
Um,
It wasn't imbalanced too much either. I didn't feel like there was too much focus on, like, they had a big cast,
yeah.
and I just thought that it would just be too messy with too many characters going on, but it kind of balanced quite well, I thought.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you take a step back and think about how shit it could have been,
Yeah.
I mean, their level of success with that movie is just
Yeah.
it's amazing, and yeah, and I think it perfectly complements The Dark Knight Rises as well. They are, the yin and yang of comic
Yeah.
book movies this year.
I think Skyfall was one of my favourite movies as well.
Yeah.
Because I have very low expectations. Not low expectations, but I'm not like a huge Bond fan. Obviously, coming on the back of Quantum of Solace, which was awful. Because I watched that again recently. It is awful.
Yeah, I was
I
thinking.
wouldn't
about
say
it.
awful. It's just a bit.
Well, it's just really messy. It is
Yeah.
really awful. I actually don't think Casino Royale holds up
It
that
doesn't.
well. If you go back, especially post Skyfall, because I think a lot of people there's been a bit of a backlash with Skyfall recently, and people go, I think people have made Casino Royale in their minds into a very different movie than it actually is.
Yeah.
You go back, it's long,
Yeah.
it takes ages to get going. The end sequence in Venice is a mess. There's gratuitous product placement. There's really cheesy naff bits. Like all.
What about the
Bond.
Heineken and Skyfall though? At one point,
It's not that bad.
yeah, I know, but at one stage though, they are in the MI6 office.
Yeah, but I don't
And
think
some
it's
guy
beyond
just
the
walks
realm.
in-
I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility, even in the Skyfall office. Like,
People have
The
beers in their
Skyfall
office.
office.
the Skyfall office.
But he walks in with a Heineken and just puts it down on his work
But
desk
at
and
the
goes,
same
"Oh."
time, there's subtle product placement. Like on the tube, when they're running through the tube, there's a guy with a Coke bottle, Coke Zero bottle, and you don't even notice it because he's holding it labeled not to camera, and he's holding it against his chest. So there is subtle stuff. It's not the same as Casino Royale going, is that Rolex? Omega? That's terrible. That's terrible. That's gratuitous.
I think I don't think I was surprised by Skyfall, but I think I had this. So far, I've been the only person I know that's had this reaction to Casino Royale. But I really like the Bourne films.
Yeah.
And I think when Casino Royale came out, it was kind of like, this is a reboot. This is what Bond's going to be like now. And it was like, in terms of action set pieces, it was quite minimal, I think.
Yeah.
And things like that. So I watched that and I liked it. And I thought, wow, this is cool. Like, Bond's got this new direction. And then Quantum of Solace came out and there was like a bike chase, a boat chase, a plane chase, a car chase, all in the first hour. And my first reaction
is
to that
true.
film was, this is like the last of the Pierce Brosnan films, but with Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
And so I kind of lost interest in Bond again. But what I really liked about Skyfall is how they actually did manage to put in a lot of visual and verbal references to the fact that it was this 50-year anniversary without it being too much. I think it was never like,
Well, the great
we stopped doing exploding pens. Oh God, it was kind of like, because he had the exploding pen, and I
think it's quite sophisticated actually, because the counterpoint to that is Die Another Day, when the last time a Bond movie was released in the year where they were commemorating some kind of Bond
Yeah, it was
anniversary.
OTT,
It's
isn't
the
it?
20th movie, and it was too much. It was too in your face. But I think for a long time Bond laboured under this kind of anxiety complex because it was now in a world post 24, post Bourne, and it felt like it had to be like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Skyfall is actually quite minimal, quite sophisticated. His action doesn't try to be like Bourne. It's not fast cut. Isn't chaotic.
Yeah.
But then it almost felt at many points that it was a Batman pastiche. I think.
Yeah,
That
so
was my
there's
first,
a lot of
my
dark in there,
first,
isn't it?
and almost the score is almost a complete rip-off
Yeah.
of like Hans Zimmer's score. I
And
think.
they're even they have to retreat underground to their like underground base, a lot like the I don't know what the Bat Garage or whatever he calls
Yeah.
it in Dark Knight.
And
Yeah.
it really
not
bothered
I disagree.
me.
Like, I think that might be the case. I think because Nolan is such a big presence. Like sometimes, like it's very. I don't know. Like a lot of people are saying, the end. There's, it's the Home Alone ending. Like it's like
I really
there's
like the
loads
ending.
of films where they lay traps, and it's what you do in a house. It's not necessarily it's Home Alone. I don't know. It's very hard. I think it'd be easy to see as time goes by whether it is actually imitating Nolan or whether that's
Well,
just
he
the
said he was
style of the
influenced
moment.
by it,
Yeah.
so I think it's a fair comparison.
Definitely
but-
very evident. Yeah.
Well, like
I
when
didn't know that.
When I first saw the trailer coming out, and they showed the scene with the digger and the train when he jumps down, and my first reaction, thinking of Quantum of Solace, was like, "Oh God, here we go again!" Like
Yeah.
it's like unrealistic action. But then it kind of
It's really cool.
dawned on me like slightly before the film came out that I was like, "But that is Bond."
Yeah.
And I think they did it really well. That the first scene is like him racing over the Grand Bazaar in Turkey on motorcycles, and it's kind. But I wasn't kind of like sitting there going, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah, it's
I was like, "Oh,
it's
this is
wow,
awesome!
Here we go.
Here we go!"
Well, we've got to wrap up now.
right.
So, Skyfall is definitely my film highlight of the year. Because I was a little bit let down by Dark Knight Rises, only because of the hype machine and because of the problems the movie has. So, but what about you guys?
I'm going to say Looper. I'm going to stick my neck out and say Looper.
Yeah,
I thought
nice.
honestly it was an original
I'm excited.
experience.
Well, actually, very
and-
recently I saw Frankenweenie, and I love Frankenweenie, and I actually think if I was if I was a kid again, that would be my favourite movie as a kid.
Okay, cool.
And
I
think,
quite
you
liked
know,
Moonrise Kingdom.
I've not seen Moonrise.
Not seen it.
Like
Again, a lot of stuff to see. I think it's because I so hate going to cinemas these days.
Movie of
Hate
2013,
people. Hate
the
people.
Hit Squad
Just hate
movie.
all people.
Obviously.
And
Obviously.
Hit
Yeah.
Squad will be
Oscar bait, yeah.
Whatever year that comes
It's
out,
Oscar bait.
that'll be everyone's highlights. But guys, that has been episode 37 of the Ready Game Fire podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your lives to come here to Ready Game Fire Towers and lay this down with us. Just want to say that we are going to be debuting on the Universal Takeover Network. That's an internet radio station who want to play our podcast. So that's good news.
Awesome.
Is this going to be the first one that comes out?
Possibly they'll use an older one.
Probably have to
Oh,
edit
right.
it.
But yeah, they're all
Yeah.
they're all in America and stuff. So
Wow,
it's
it must be real.
Oh, it's big. You can find all of our podcasts on YouTube now. They're day and date, so that's good news for people who have the new iTunes podcast app. But if you still use iTunes, please rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us out immensely. If you want to email us, who do you guys look at when you give this information out? It's weird, isn't it?
It's normally me who has to give it out, and I just look at the sheet of
Look
paper
at the
that's
floor.
written on.
I'm still waiting to hear where I can email you, so I'm hooked.
If you want to email us, it's contact@readygamefire.co.uk. We're Ready Game Fire at Twitter and Facebook. We've just made 200 likes on our Facebook page.
Hey.
It was a small celebration for me.
Cool.
I'm not going to lie. But yes, please follow us, please like us, and that is it. That's the show. So thank you, Jordan.
Thank you for having me and the beers.
No worries. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for having
Dan.
us.
Thanks, Chris.
I've been Chris Fox. See you later. That was awful.
Love that. See you later. He just goes like this.
And we're out.